day, everybody. It is Calxiyn here, and if you guys enjoyed this video, you should subscribe for more Attack on Titan videos. Today, we are watching the Attack on Titan finale, kinda, for now. There is not going to be another episode until apparently winter 2022, so we kind of knew that, like, we knew that this was the finale of part 1, but it also doesn't seem like they're actually calling it part 1. Like, when I saw Funimation's tweet about them being like, hey, episode 76 is gonna release in, like, winter 2022, it's kind of weird, because when you phrase it like that, doesn't it sound like we're just getting a year-long delay instead of this being like an intentional thing? So yes, this is the last episode of part 1 of the season, but then I guess part 2 is gonna start up again in winter 2022, and so I'm super, super excited to see where they leave us for a whole year. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna cope. It's so weird, because, like, I was never, like, the biggest Attack on Titan fan, but now I think I am the biggest Attack on Titan fan, you know what I mean? Like, Attack on Titan has, like, risen up in the rankings of my favorite shows, and it's just crazy. It's crazy. But let's talk about what we do over here. If you guys don't know, we are going to do my reaction highlights, and then after that, we are gonna do the discussion. If you guys want to see my full-length reaction, you guys can check out the Patreon. It is a timer reaction, so you press play when I press play type of thing. You press play, you sync up, you see my whole reaction, but this is gonna be my reaction highlights, my reaction to the biggest moments, and then afterwards, we will do a discussion. And so yeah, without further ado, let us just get into it. Let's go. Is Zeke? No. He's not dead. He's just dying. Okay, well. What was that? There was a girl. Was that a vision of, like, his story? Oh, wait, who is that? Who is that? Some random Titan is gonna eat Zeke? What? Is Zeke really dead? What? Who is that? What? What? What the fuck? No! Did Zeke just really die? But what Titan was that? That was like some random person. What? Uh-oh. Oh, this guy's gonna get punched. Damn. Well, he loved her. Oh, and yeah, Sasha's family is still in there too. I hope someone shoots him. About to Sparky if she doesn't. Oh no. I think Pieck was playing games. I think that she was lying somehow. Uh-oh. Really? Oh dear. What? That's not good, because Porco's down there! Right now, Porco! Oh no, because Porco was there! I think Eren got a little, it's time to go! Oh dear, where's Reiner? get into the discussion now. I am so excited to talk about this episode, but I'm also like deeply heartbroken inside just because now we have to wait until winter 2022 and I'm like, but I think that they did this for a couple reasons. Like, first of all, obviously with the pandemic going around, like I feel like that it was probably hard to put even like this amount of episodes together. They probably need more time. Two, I feel like that this is going to encourage people to go buy the manga because I've seen like some people are like, I can't fucking wait anymore. Like they just can't wait. They're gonna go get the manga right now so they can see what's going on, right? So I feel like that could also be a reason. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that like nefariously they decided that to get you to spend money, but at the same time, like a lot of the time animes are used to promote like manga sales and stuff. So I feel like in this case, that is definitely going to happen. Like people are definitely gonna check out the manga because of this last episode. And then also, I feel like that they could probably make more money splitting it in half compared to just continuing because the hype sort of rebuilds and grows over time again. It's like, I don't know, it's like deconstructing and reconstructing the hype bigger than before compared to if they had just continued on to next week. That's how I see it. Now, let's talk about this first scene with Hanji, or I guess Hanji. You guys kept telling me, no, it's Hanji, and Flock. There we go. Okay. Yes, the pronunciation. I know their names. It's just the pronunciation that gets to me sometimes. But yeah, so they hear thunder and they think, oh, it's raining thunder maybe, right? But she knows it seems that it's a thunder spear. And so they decide to go into that direction. And in that direction, unfortunately, we see Zeke. And now if we go through the screenshots here, I can't show you what Zeke looks like, but he's not looking too good. He's missing some arms. He's missing some abs. He's just not looking too hot. And it seems like he actually dies here. Now, I have a big theory because during my reaction, as you guys saw, I thought he was dead. Like, I thought that he was dead. But now looking at the scene, like 1 + 1 is not equaling 2 here. So let's talk about this. So we get some Zeke vision and obviously he's not in good shape. His eyes are like slowly draining of life. He's looking at this flower and he thinks, am I dying? Am I dying? Right? And so we see, first of all, a girl. And so that may not be like crazy to anybody else, but to me, I'm sort of like, because I don't know who this is in relation to Zeke. It doesn't seem like it's anyone in relation to Zeke. Zeke doesn't have any other siblings other than Eren. It's not like he's seeing his sister. It doesn't really look like his mom. So I'm saying like that this is someone, but who? Like they kind of look like, I don't know, they kind of remind me of Historia, but I don't even think that they look like Historia in a sense. So I'm like, but who? But who is this, right? And so I don't know, but I think that it's weird. I definitely think that it's weird. I'm not entirely sure who it is. Sometimes I know we've talked about like, oh, sometimes the Titans have visions of like the future Titan holders and stuff. So I wonder if this is someone like from the royal family bloodline, like maybe the first royal blooded Titan, like the founding Titan, but at the same time, like Zeke doesn't have the founding Titan powers. He just has royal blood, right? So that's the whole thing. It's like, who would he be connected to? Could it be like the very first like Beast Titan or something? Like, I don't know. And it also looks like a little girl. So that's the other thing too, is I don't know. There's just a bunch of stuff going on. So I don't know why, but this is suspicious as fuck. And so my first guess was, could this be Historia's child? Like, if Historia's child is supposed to inherit the Beast Titan, could this be Zeke seeing a future vision of Historia's child? Now, I don't know if that's gonna be the case. Like, I feel like this hairstyle reminds me a lot of, I guess, Sasha's sister, but there's so many different elements in her that I'm just like, I can't put my finger on which exactly I, like, directly agree with, you know what I mean? But they look like they're dressed, like, pretty, like, peasantly, if that makes sense. Like, they're carrying a water bucket, and so I don't know, but I do think that it's suspicious. I think that it's suspicious that he's seeing someone, and so I feel like that this is either like a former Titan shifter, like, or like somebody in the royal bloodline, or like, I know that this sounds weird, but what about like Ymir herself in a way? Because like, was Ymir a real person or is Ymir a concept? Because if Ymir is a person, could this be like a manifestation of Ymir that he is seeing before death, like sort of seeing God before death? But I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes sense, because I don't know if Ymir was like a mystical entity or if they were just like they say founder Ymir, right? But at the same time, like, I don't know. I'm just saying this is sus. Who this is, I don't know. But moving swiftly onward, okay? We have something more important to talk about in my opinion. And again, can't show this to you guys because I don't think that YouTube would appreciate that. But this Titan comes out of fucking nowhere. Like, who is this? But anyway, I don't think that who it is actually matters. At first, I thought that it was like a flash forward type of thing. I thought that they turned Gabby into a Titan to eat Zeke, and I was so confused. I think that something weird is going on with this. This is what I mean by 1 + 1 does not equal 2. And I think that that girl actually has something to do with it, because he saw the vision of the girl and then this happened. It's like, it's Deus Ex Machina a little bit, that this Titan just happened to be here and like put Zeke into her stomach. And so let's talk about that, because that is the part that I think does not make sense. At first, I thought that they killed Zeke, and that this random fuck would be the next Beast Titan. But I'm actually like thinking about the scene again, right? Like the Titans eat people in the hopes that they will eat a Titan shifter and turn back into a human. This Titan did not eat Zeke. This Titan put Zeke into her stomach. And you could say, oh, like they put it in the stomach to digest faster, but I don't think that it was actually her stomach. I think that it's like her womb, and I know that that sounds kind of weird. But like it kind of looked like she was giving herself a fucking cesarean, okay? And putting Zeke on the inside. And so here's my like very crack theory, is that Zeke saw like a vision of God, I guess, let's just say. And God was like, I don't want you to die though. And so they kind of manifested, like fate manifested a Titan, and then God took control of the Titan and then put Zeke in her womb. And now Zeke is gonna be fine, I guess? Maybe he'll have like a new lease on life. Like if he meets like the founding Titan, like if he meets like Ymir or God or whatever, like do you think that he would stop the eradication plan if Ymir was like, I saved your life, don't do it? If she was just like, you know, I don't like what you're doing, Zeke, but I'm gonna like bring you back to life and give you one last chance. You know what I mean? And so I could see like some sort of resurrection, Jesus-y metaphor. Like, I don't know, but that's how I feel. Like, I feel like that Zeke, and even Eren in other episodes, like Eren has a very Jesus-y moment where he's like barefoot and shirtless, and like, you know, he looks a lot like crucifix Jesus. If you guys have ever been to like Catholic school and stuff, you probably know what I mean, right? I wonder if this is like Zeke of the resurrection type thing. Like he's gonna get almost resurrected, or at least reconstructed, because he was put in this Titan's womb. But then you would have to think, why would a Titan do that? Right? Like Titans aren't really built for that. Like that's not Titan's inherent instinct. The Titan's inherent instinct is to eat the Titan shifter to regain their humanity. And this Titan did not do that. And so why would this Titan break their natural instinct unless there's divine intervention in the natural instinct, right? And maybe it could have happened just based off of Zeke. Like I know that Zeke has Titan controlling powers, and so maybe like he implicitly or like instinctually, subconsciously like manifested this Titan that had like lived, right, to like put him in the womb. And so maybe that was a choice on Zeke, but I don't know. Like things are not adding up. They're not adding up, but I don't think he's dead. I think that he is going to be reborn, and that's going to be like very like metaphorical. Woo, like it's going to be very fun, very funky fresh for poor Zeke. But that's all I got. Like I don't know how to explain it any more than that. At least this Titan will give him a safe place to regrow his limbs. But I feel like that the Titan has something to do with it as well. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's some womb thingies going on here. And I wonder if he'll see that girl as he's like knocked out and kind of dead. And maybe that girl will like explain it to him. Because I feel like that would actually be kind of interesting, because like that's really funny, I guess, that Zeke wants to, I guess, like sterilize and eradicate like all of the people of Ymir. But what if Ymir comes a knocking on his door like, bitch, no, don't do it, right? I'm giving you life, go back there and stop that bullshit, don't do it. And so I wonder if that could could be like a future conflict or something. Or maybe Ymir will be like, yeah, sounds great, and I'll just be like, no, stop it, stop trying to do eugenics, it's not nice. Anyway, so that's what I'm thinking with the Zeke thing. I don't think he's dead anymore. I don't think he's dead. I don't think that this Titan is going to become the new Zeke. Like, I don't think this Titan is gonna inherit the Beast Titan. I think this Titan is just a vessel. They're helping out. They're giving Zeke a place to regrow in the womb, and we're gonna get some very interesting rebirthing stuff. Like, that's the first thing that I personally think of. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that, but there's just something about how she, like, sticks him in there that, like, reads more like, instead of I'm putting you in my stomach, it's like I'm putting you, like, in my ovaries. I don't know. That's how it read to me. I'm getting, like, secondhand pain over here from that. Anyway, moving swiftly onward, we have Armband. Why? Why did y'all have to do this? Because Yelena says, oh, we can learn from our enemies, but I'm just like, Yelena, you're being as bad. Like, it was so over the head, like, hit over the head of, like, yeah, Yelena's kind of just as bad as her oppressor's time. Like, that's how this scene really felt to me. Because you see that they're employing the exact same system. And so I feel like that this really speaks to the concepts we've been talking about the past couple weeks. It really speaks to this cycle of oppression, the cycle of vengeance, right? All of these different cycles that we've been talking about. And so I'm just like, and so we actually know what the armbands mean now. Like, white apparently means like sided from the beginning type of thing. Red means like forced to comply. And then black means like still not fucking complying of our own will sort of thing. So I guess there's like tiers to who switched first and then who started switching like later on type of thing. We'll dine at the same table again soon. Yeah, and so this guy again, I think, is this guy the guy with the hair? I'll show you guys who I mean. The guy with like the beard and he's with Falco and his sides are kind of shaved. Is that this guy or maybe it's a different guy? We'll see. But yeah, and so Yelena's here. They're all eating. He does not look happy. I think that he is going to defect from her because he doesn't seem to know about the eradication plan to the same extent that like she did. Like, she seems to know everything. He seems to be clueless, and I guess I'll see his facial expression when she starts to talk about it in that scene, because he was really surprised that she just shot that guy in the other scene. But anyway, and so yeah, poor Prixus, he's, oh god, he's probably very dead. But at least Zeke's now incapacitated, so he can't scream anytime soon. I know that, like, they don't know that, obviously, but that's good for us as the audience. Unless, like, Zeke regrows in, like, a minute, even though for him it feels like 30 minutes, right? Or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I found that this scene was interesting. You gathered all the soldiers, and forbade opposition like we asked, right? And so I think that he was just, like, he was playing along first, I guess. Like, I think that he was playing along at first, but then he realized that he had no choice. Because you have that scene where he's like, oh, we have no choice but to surrender to the Jaegerists, right? Like, he has that scene when Mikasa calls out the lady for, like, only using her as a political tool, right? Remember that scene, like, from episodes and episodes and episodes ago? And so he faked compliance, but then behind the scenes, they were trying to get somebody else to basically eat Zeke. That was the whole, like, thing that, Levi was talking about, right? And so now Yelena's like, well, that's interesting. Now you're complying with us. And so he's saying that they don't have any choice because they could be Titans at any minute. I hope that made sense. I kind of tripped over myself, but we got there eventually. Yeah. And now, this guy's pointing a gun, right? I'm sorry, Commander. My son and I both drank the wine. And so I feel like what's happening here is it's not just a threat of, like, the wine, I guess. I don't know how to explain it per se, but it's also the threat of, like, I'm sure that Zeke could come here and basically be like, if anybody acts out of line, I will literally scream right now. Like, I thought, like, first, it was just to get rid of all of the military people. Like, I guess that's what I mean, is at first I was like, oh, Zeke's trying to get rid of them all. He's just gonna, like, turn them into Titans and then they'll die, but it's not even then they'll die. It's more like, I'm gonna hold all of you hostage so you guys will have to listen to me, which is a little smarter in my opinion, because at least then you get the manpower. So Prixus picks up on all of the different armband colors. I think that was more like for the sake of the audience as well, to explain what it means. But I'm just like, why are you guys reinforcing the Marleyan system again, right? And so it's interesting though, because now the colors are reversed. Like, I didn't know if anybody else noticed that, but think about the zone. In the zone, everyone has a gray armband. If you're like a general Eldian, you have a gray armband, but now if you're a Jaegerist, you have a white armband. The people that complied, right, but weren't always at first, red must be the ones who learned they drank the tainted wine and were forced to comply, right? And so think about it. In Eldian standards, I guess, or in the Eldian armband system that Marley has imposed, you have gray, yellow, red, and I think you do have black. I think that Zeke's was black. I don't remember anymore, but think about it now. Here you have the inverse where it's white, red, black, right? And we haven't seen a yellow yet, so I don't know if there will be one or not. But do you guys understand what I'm saying? It's funny how now, like, they have reversed the order, and so it's like almost like, oh, the quote-unquote lowly Eldians, right, that would wear the gray armbands in Marley are actually the most powerful Eldians right here, whereas the red and black, which were reserved for warriors and Titan shifters, are now being used for, like, people that are reluctant to comply and for people that refuse to comply, a lot like Prixis, right? So I thought that that was fascinating, it's an inversion of the system, basically, right? The rest of us fools who drink the wine without knowing a thing are identified with black, right? And so it's like a reversal, right? Instead of the people that know the most being the black and red, like the warriors, instead you have the reverse, where it's like the people that know the least. So that's a little fun thing, I guess. Yeah, so that's the thing. I'm like, Yelena, you're being oppressive. And I think that she knows. She says we can learn a lot from our enemies, such as how to make more of them. And I was just like, right? And so that's the only thing for me. I'm just like, Yelena, why? Because, like, her country was taken over by Marley, but now she's also being the oppressor. And so again, I feel like it's this thing of cycles that we've talked about the past couple weeks, right? Was it not your people who refused to side with us? That said, considering we failed to trust guests who served us tainted wine, does that make us foolish or wise, right? And so basically what she's saying is, you didn't trust us, bitch. And he's saying, well, why would I trust you? You guys poisoned the wine, bro. Like, he's basically like retorting her point, because yeah, she's right, they didn't trust them, but now they had reason not to trust them all along, right? If you had trusted Zeke and us from the start, the world might be saved by now. So I guess Yelena's point is that they didn't mean to do, like, that they meant to do it, but they wouldn't have done it if they had cooperated in the first place, right? Is this guy still drinking the wine? I guess they can drink the wine because they're probably Marleyans, right? But I just think that something interesting that is happening, like, with all of this is that, like, she's basically saying, hey, like, we didn't want to put the Titan serum in the wine, but you guys forced our hand when you didn't trust us, and so the world might be saved. And so I thought that that was interesting because he's starting to pick up on things not being as they seem. I was under the impression that your plan was to reunite Zeke and Eren for a small-scale rumbling to keep the other nations at bay for the next 50 years. But we know that she says saving the world because it's saving the world from the Titan shifters, right? The sterilization, or I guess I should say, like, euthanization plan, right? And so I think that Prixis is finally, like, you know, picking up on the fact that they promise, like, hey, the island will be saved, no one will bother you, but she's talking about saving the world, and she's saying that because their plan is to, like, get rid of Paradise altogether and all Eldians altogether, and that'll bring peace to the world, question mark. Again, very big question marks to this plan. I already talked about this last week. I do not support Zeke's plan. I'm not on board with Zeke's plan, right? And so I thought that he didn't know, but I think it was more him warning her not to give it away and not to give them any access information, because maybe he does know after all. It's too late. Zeke gave you plenty of time, and you answered his mercy by planning to kill him, right? And so again, that's what I mentioned earlier with Prixis being like, oh yeah, we'll comply, we have no choice, Eren's too strong, and then going behind their back and trying to kill Zeke, right? That was the whole point. And so I like this. Zeke is the god who will save the world that you've earned his raft. Sorry guys. Yeah. So here's the thing about that. That I think is more imagery or more like symbolism to foreshadow what I said earlier about Zeke being reborn. Because wouldn't that be so godlike if he died and came back, like resurrected? Again, just saying, right? Obviously, like Yelena's like whole thing is kind of exaggerated about Zeke being God, but like what if he was actually resurrected? Then he'd kind of be like God. Isn't it nice how Sasha's dad is still taking care of these kids, right? Like he's just in here making tea and all of that stuff, and I think it's kind of nice because he knows that these are Sasha's friends, and so he's still trying to take care of them as well. Armin, could you bust out of here as a Titan? No, I just destroy the city, right? And so even though now there's a fight going on upstairs, Armin still can't join, and I'm pretty sure he would also kill everyone else, but if he thinks the city is already being destroyed by Reiner and bombs and whatever's going on, he may turn anyway. Unlike Eren's Titan, the Colossal Titan can't do something that precise, but if they start to hear that the whole building's gonna come down anyway, Armin may be like, okay everyone, get on my back, it's time for us to go, and then he'll just poof through the building, just because the district is gonna be destroyed anyway. So then Jean says, so why did Eren beat you to a pulp? It's about time you tell us, right? And so Armin kind of vaguely explains, but it doesn't seem like Mikasa wants him to talk about it, right? And then he's like, huh? Right? Because he's like, about Mikasa, right? And so she just says like, stop, it's fine, I don't want to talk about it. And I can see why, because she just looks so dead inside. Like it hasn't really set in for her yet, I don't think, like the true meaning of Eren's words in a sense. Like she's just sitting there and she looks so like lifeless and kind of like stoic, right? Like she's just, I don't know, like she seems so dead, like she seems so destroyed by what Eren said. No it's not, what exactly did he say? And then Connie's like, forget it, we know he's a piece of shit, right? Now he's lost his mind and hurt two people he should care about most. But see, this is what I've been saying. He told them he cares about them the most, so what is he trying to do? Push them away. That's what I was trying to say last week. And so I think that Jean actually says something pretty smart here, which is always surprising to me. I don't know why, but like whenever Jean has those like little bits of wisdom, I think if he was sane, he wouldn't do it without a good reason. So Connie's like, nah, he's crazy, he lost his mind. But Jean is saying, but if he was sane, he wouldn't do it without a good reason, and the reason is to push them away. And I think that this is foreshadowing to Armin crying later on, and I will get to that when we get to that, but basically my thesis is why did Armin cry? Obviously, he wasn't actually moved by Yelena's plan. What he realized, in my opinion, was that Eren would never go along with a plan like that, and so he is crying because he is relieved. He's taking what Jean said, he wouldn't do it without a good reason, and realizing that Eren does have a good reason, and it's because Eren is playing the long con to basically like get rid of Zeke, to betray Zeke, and then do his own thing, whatever that may be, right? And so I think that Armin was crying because Armin was so relieved, and he was like, oh my god, based on what Jean said, and based on what Yelena's saying, Armin would never do that, and so I'm crying because I'm so glad that Eren was just like playing a part, basically. I don't know if I said Eren or Armin a couple times interchangeably there by accident, but you guys know what I mean. Armin was crying because he realized what Jean said and then applied it to Eren and realized, oh, Eren doesn't hate us, right? Eren's not doing the bads, right? Eren would never agree to this, so he must be planning to betray Zeke. I think that that's what Armin thinks. See, do you think there's some sort of meaning behind it? And so Armin realizes the meaning later, and I feel like that's so great, and I feel like that's definitely gonna come into play, well, in a couple months, in 9 months, when we get the next episode. And so then we have Yelena, this fucker, and obviously my favorite man over here. And so yeah, that is basically like where we now transition into, is we transition into Yelena being like, let me tell you all a story. That's basically what she's down here doing. But this motherfucker, this is the guy who was working with Niccolo and then like betrayed him. It pains me to reunite in a place like this. And so I feel like that he's talking to him because I feel like they're closer to him, especially like with Hanji and him and all that stuff. They're closer to him than they are to Yelena, right? And so that's a lot to ask considering you guys put me on house arrest. Yeah, he's not exactly like thrilled about that. And I think that that kind of like in the conversation with Hanji, you can sort of tell like they were allies. And so he's like, let us out. Like Connie's like, let us out. And he's like, why would I let you out? You trapped me in, right? Like you put me in there. And so I feel like he's less sympathetic specific to some extent now. Just sit quiet and behave until Zeke and Eren meet. Must be nice, Yelena. Everything went exactly how you planned. Through you, Eren moved how Zeke wanted. Raiding Marley, getting people support, using wine to take over the military. Now Eldia and the Founding Titan are yours, right? See, so Jean is still treating Yelena as if she's like the evil mastermind, when I don't think she is. Like, I think that first and foremost, it's Zeke, right? Like, first and foremost, like, to them, right? Like, it's Zeke, and Yelena's just doing what Zeke wants. But it's Eren. Like, the long-term plan is that Eren is the biggest mastermind, in my opinion. That's my guess, right? And so, you can crush Marley and avenge your homelands. That is true. Like, that is their other motivation, right? Isn't that the real reason you came to the island? And so, this place was primitive. We brought it out of the past, and so that was a weird thing to say. So you and your pals could enjoy it once you ruled it, that is. I think that that was interesting from Niccolo as well, because he's sort of thinking, you don't even want to avenge your homeland, you just want to stay here, because even if you go back and avenge your homeland, what would you be at maximum? Here you could be king, whereas in your homeland you could be like maybe middle class after you take it back from Marley, right? So I feel like that's Niccolo's point, but I don't understand like, oh, it was primitive before we got here. I don't understand what he means by that per se. Yeah, and so Niccolo's asshole, I'm not gonna call him his friend, but the guy that he was working with, Niccolo's dude, I guess, his co-worker, who's a major asshole, right? He seems to be actually like genuinely tearful though. Like, he has tears in his eyes, and so he must have really drunk the Kool-Aid about like, oh, you betrayed us, you were in love with Sasha, right? And so what's worse is that Sasha's family is also in the jail, which I don't know if you guys noticed, but I noticed after, like, first I noticed with the tea thing, but then you can see them all sitting there during this scene. And I love this from Niccolo. I love Niccolo's character. I love him so much. I am like here for this, right? You wouldn't shut up about her day and night. Stupid me thought you'd get a grip when the bitch died. And so you can see like how mad Connie is because they're talking about Sasha, right? So Connie's about to fuck this man up too. And then Sasha's family is right there, right? And so like, oh, this was just such a hard scene to watch. And Niccolo's about to beat up this man, right? And so I'll make it easy to understand that spawn of a devil whore was, and then Yelena shoots him, much to my praise. That's like the best thing Yelena has done in a long time, right? But yeah, this guy had it coming. That's all I'm saying. This guy definitely had it coming. I don't really have anything else to add, but he seemed like genuinely emotional because he probably thought like, oh, my buddy got tricked by one of those devils, right? Like that was his attitude, right? But he seems genuinely like upset at the fact that Niccolo like got quote unquote manipulated, but he doesn't realize that he's just drunk too much Kool-Aid too. But Yelena gets rid of this problem real fast, and so, you know, that's all we can really ask for. See, and I think that he's gonna be like defecting from Yelena soon, because I don't think that he expected her to do that, and I think that he's like, that could be me someday. You know what I mean? Like, Yelena's just so like unpredictable, and then you hear all the kids scream as well. But I like this. I apologize for his disrespect. At least she's, you know, like that, I guess. I don't know. I just thought that was like so interesting. Believe me, our true goal is nothing as hollow as getting revenge on Marley, right? So she's answering Jean's whole thing of, oh yeah, you'll just use us to avenge your homeland. Our goal is to end the cycle of hatred, to save Eldia and even Marley. And so that's, again, very interesting, is that we keep talking about cycles, and she proposes that this is their way to end the cycle, but I don't think that it is the way at all. About Zeke's plan to save the world, his euthanization plan, and again, Sasha's family is just in here hearing this, and I'm like, But, so moving on to Gabby for a quick moment before we get back to Yelena and everything. They're devils, so why am I, and so I feel like that Gabby is feeling bad about what Eren said to Mikasa and Armin, right? So she's trying to think, but, you know, they're devils, Eren and Mikasa, so why am I, and I think that what she's saying is, why am I feeling bad for them? Why do I feel bad for what Eren said to them? And I think it's because, like, they helped her, they said that they didn't want to kill her, they helped her with her injuries, right? So I feel like that's what Gabby's saying. It's almost like they're devils, so why do I feel empathy? Like, I feel like that Gabby could would really change, and I was hoping sort of that Pieck was gonna defect, and then Gabby would defect with Pieck, but it doesn't seem like things are going that way anymore. It seems like that Pieck was just like bullshitting the whole time. She tricked me a little bit. I will say that I did hear more of like a pretending type tone even in the Japanese, and I was like, oh, but I can't tell because it's not in English. If it was in English, I could tell if she was like sort of faking, right? But because it was in Japanese, like I couldn't really tell, except I could hear like something. I could hear a change in something, but I was really hoping that Pieck was gonna defect, but she didn't. She may sometime, but not because of this, right? She's still, you know, fighting basically not for Marley, but to defend her friends, to come back for Falco and Gabby, right? And also, like, Eren still kind of, like, fucked up her home and almost killed, like, their families, too. And still, like, Sophia and Udo, so that's a whole thing, right? But yeah, that's what I think Gabby's thinking about. It's so funny, because Gabby had, like, I'm gonna kill that man, and now she has, like, nothing to say to him. Like, she hasn't said anything to Eren this whole time. Hey, brat, who killed Sasha, and I love how casual Eren is because he doesn't even know. What do you want? If you want to save Falco, help me, right? So the original plan was for Eren to use Gabby to call out, like, on the radio and be like, help! And then, like, whoever was infiltrating, like, Porco and, like, Pieck would come out and save her, right? Call for help on the radio to flush intruders in the wall, right? So he already knew that there were intruders running around, right? And then Pieck comes in, and it's just great. And yeah, so if you actually look at last episode, you can see Porco with Flux Squad, and so, like, that was sort of a hint, but I didn't recognize him at all. I just thought it was a guy with a similar haircut. But yeah, you guys pointed that out to me in the comments of my discussion, and then I went back and, like, checked the timestamp, and I was like, oh, you guys are right, Porco was there, right? So again, like, that's the whole thing. And so oh, Pieck. And so this was a pretty badass scene. Like, she just cut this bitch, and now she's just like, keep quiet, Gabby. And it's amazing. Like, Gabby's just so happy to see her, and I thought that this was such a good scene, right? I take it you're Eren, correct? And so this was pretty funny too. She doesn't even know, she's just guessing, right? And I just really like the whole scene with them. But yeah, I don't think that we really need to do this. Primary goal of the new strategy is for the Cart and Jaw Titan to infiltrate the southernmost district, right? So I guess this is actually not information from Eldia. This is like Marley information, I guess. That's Marley information about the district, because now the plan is for the Cart and Jaw Titan to infiltrate, right? So Pieck says Gabby aimed the rifle at Eren, and so she goes to grab it because this guy had a gun. Eren, hands out of your pockets, right? And so this was like a badass scene. Like, this is the most badass thing I've ever seen in my life, on whether or not she'll actually do it or not, right? I think that this is just like such a good scene. Like, ever seen it? No Time to Transform. Like, she's just such a badass, but Eren is just so equally a badass because he's like, hey, if you came here to kill me, you would have killed me, but you can't kill me, can you, right? And so I thought that this was just, such a great scene, right? Because she just repeats the same thing again. I do know you won't shoot. You aren't allowed to kill the founding. I love him. And Gabby's like, what the fuck is this man? Like, is this man even like human? Like, he fears no death, right? You aren't allowed to kill the founding titan. And look at Gabby. Gabby's just like, what the fuck? Oh my god, your orders are just to retake it. But for that, you'll have to turn into a titan and eat me alive, right? And this is where Pieck realizes that she's not going to get anywhere. And so this is where her strategy changes. And so I think that this was really intelligent for her, though, for her to think on her feet like this. Gabby, take your finger off the trigger. So yeah, no more of that. None of that. We can't shoot him. We can't kill him, right? You're not the only one who would pay for defying the military. Your family in the zone would too. And so this is where I was just like, oh, she's acting. This is where I sort of felt that, but I wanted to believe it so bad I sort of ignored it, right? Yeah, I won't shoot, and eating you doesn't seem possible either. So, right? You found my Titan footprints when I invaded, right? So it seems like Eren actually knew about this. It seems like he was actually prepared. I thought I did well sneaking into your mist without being caught, but I have other reasons for not shooting. So again, this is her acting. She's pretending, right? And so I thought that this was good to see her think on her feet, but I also wonder if she could turn later, just because, like, she does tell Gabby later, hey, I don't trust Marley as far as I can throw them, but I'm not about to betray my comrades just for, like, this nonsense, you know what I mean? If you use the Founding Titan's power, couldn't you defeat Marley, right? you wouldn't make the world your enemy unless you knew you could win. Do you have something more than the founding titan? So they have Zeke, but Pieck knows that, so I think she's just playing dumb, right? And so it's interesting. Gabby put down the rifle. Supposing I did, what's your goal? To free all Eldians in Marley and around the world. And so she is making the exact same face as when Zeke was lying to his grandparents last episode. And so I found that to be like very interesting, is that you can see that she's lying here, right? And so I think that maybe like she does feel like she would want to achieve that in some way. She doesn't trust Marley like she said, but she's lying to Eren, and I think that Eren can see that, right? And so I want to free my family in the internment zone. I only became a warrior to get my dad, my only family, proper medical care. He survived, but he's incredibly sad knowing my turn will soon be over. Before I die and leave him behind, I want to show him Eldia has a bright future. See, but I think though that she does believe some of those things. I just think that she's not going to side with Eren to do so, at least not yet. Not with the plan that they think that Eren's presenting, right? Maybe the secret plan that Eren is going to do after, like, manipulating Zeke and all that stuff, like, maybe then, but as of right now, no. So I think that she may believe some of these things, but just not in reference or in this context, if that makes sense. For that, Marley needs to be crushed. I'll help however I can. So I think that that's the part she doesn't believe. I think she does want to show her dad that there's a bright future for them, but not like this. I honestly think that they both know that they're full of shit. Like, I feel like that this is Pieck's full of shit face, to be honest. The mastermind of the attack on Marley was Zeke, and so she doesn't sound like surprised, right? Like, she doesn't seem surprised at that because she already knows that they have something more than just the founding titan, and it is Zeke. Now you, right? So Gabby thinks that, like, she's betrayed them like Zeke did. Now you, what have we been fighting for? Once the world knows that we're good Eldians, won't they let us go free, right? And so I feel like this is where Pieck starts to talk in a way that I think is really, like, true in a lot of ways. Like, I think that she is being genuine. She's just not being genuine in the sense that she would betray them, right? You're the same as Zeke, a traitor, right? Because that's what Gabby thinks. She thinks she's being genuine. Are we Marleyans or are we Eldians? What do you think? And so then she says that we're honorary Marleyans. Wrong. We're subjects of Ymir. That's the one truth we can't escape. I think that Pieck is actually being genuine. I think that these are probably her actual real thoughts. I think that she wants Gabby maybe to realize that and stop drinking some of the Marleyan Kool-Aid, because yes, like, they technically are fighting for Marley, but I think this plays into what happened at the end of the episode. Like, I don't trust Marley, but we came here for you. Like, we didn't come here for Marley, we came here for us. That's the sort of vibe I get from what Pieck is saying in this scene, right? And so that's the one truth we can't escape. No matter what we're called, we're a race that turns into titans. But like we saw at Fort Slava, titan power is on its way out. As soon as Marley can't use us, they'll slaughter us. And I think that that is true. Like, I think that that is true, but that doesn't mean that they can let Eren do all of these things, right? And so I feel like they're going to think of some, like, third thing going on, especially because, like, the commander was working with Willy and seemed to know full well what would go on and what would happen with Willy, like the commander, and the commander's now leading this too. And so I feel like that, what if the commander was the insider, right? Because didn't they say, like, oh, we can't, you know, influence the position of getting Zeke the Beast Titan powers unless Zeke actually has good scores? Wouldn't the commander be the one that they would have to influence? Doesn't the commander pick, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, he leads all of them, right? And so I wonder if there's some third thing, like, they don't agree with Eren and what Eren's doing, but they don't agree with Marley either, and they have some sort of third plan. But the priority is to go stop them, get Falco and Gabby, and then maybe do the third plan. Because I feel like that Pieck is right, though. Like, even if she's pretending, Pieck is right. Even if we prove we're good Eldians, there's zero chance that we're freed, right? So I feel like that this is all true, though. We have to secure our right to live with our own hands. True. Again, very true. And so I feel like that the stuff she is saying is true, but this, like, she would not do it. She would not go for it through cooperating with Eren. I think that that's sort of the vibe here, right? Prove it. If you're gonna cooperate with us, show us you mean it. And so we see that Eren has a little cut. So he's like, I'm threatening to turn into a titan right now type of thing. I'll show you where my comrades are. And so they're basically saying, like, that she will betray her comrades, right? So they think that she's basically like going to betray like whoever else has infiltrated, right? If we go to the roof, I can point where they are. And so again, that's sort of like you're a traitor type of thing. And so obviously like she doesn't really do it, but I do think that it'll be interesting to see ideologically where they stand, because I see sort of Pieck as in the middle of someone who like drunk a lot of the Kool-Aid, like, you know, Gabby used to. I think even Gabby's changing, and then like not as like extreme as going to side with Eren. Like I feel like that Pieck and Reiner may be in a different ideological category. Stop children from being born, correct. That's Zeke's euthanization plan. And the kids are just here listening to this, right? All suffering brought about by the Titans will disappear from the world gradually, peacefully. Wait, how is that peaceful, right? And so then you see, look at this, like they're just holding like each other because they're so like, they are learning way too much right now. Like Sasha's family has been through enough. If subjects of Ymir slowly die out, we'll only have geezers to defend in the end, right? And so I think that basically what Yelena is saying is we are going to set off the rumbling to give you guys a good life for the next 50 years. Like say like the, you know, even if the most recent child is 1 year old, we're going to do this and then give you guys a peaceful, happy life without any conflict from the rest of the world for the next 50 years. And gradually, people will just, like, start dying out, right? Like, say, on Paradise. And eventually, like, Paradise there will be no Eldians. And after that, like, the world will, like, you know, I don't know, find peace or some bullshit, right? That's basically what she's saying. And so she's saying that, you know, we have Historia's baby for a reason. Like, they will continue, like, to basically protect all of you for, like, 50 or so years until everyone on Paradise just dies. I think that that's Yelena's point, right? Do you think they'll just leave us alone? The rumbling can serve as a deterrent as long as the founding titan and royal bloodline are preserved, right? But basically she's saying that there'll be a deterrent long enough for like this current generation to grow up to live peacefully and then eventually die, right? Fortunately, Queen Historia was blessed with an heir. As long as subjects of Ymir inherit the founder until her child passes away, right? And so that's the whole like thing, is that Historia has an heir. The founder will keep getting passed down, and then eventually, you know, everyone will just go away. Sure things, certainties, no nation can claim to have them. Each one has its own share of problems, but there is one certainty, and that's the threat of the Titans. And so she's basically saying that all of the nations would, like, that would be, you know, a big relief, I guess, to all of the other nations, the fear of the Titans, and maybe finally, like, everyone could work together and have peace, I guess, like, that's the theory, right? Their history of tears and bloodshed will be put to an end by Zeke and Eren, and so that's what Yelena thinks, that's what she's saying, right? I don't know how long humanity will last, but it's hard to think of a greater feat that will ever come to pass, and so she's basically saying, like, I don't know how long humanity will, like, you know, survive after this point, but, like, it'll be passed down, like, of this, you know, like, for millennia, people will talk about how this happened, right? Like, gods of the past, even after their deaths, they'll be seen as the saviors who shone over humanity, right? And so what's interesting is that you don't see Mikasa's expression, but Armin starts to cry, and I feel like when we don't see people's expressions, what does that mean? That means that they don't want us to see it for a reason, and so I feel like that Mikasa has probably realized the same thing that as Armin, but Armin is crying and can't keep it in because he's a little bit of a softie, right? He's a little bit of a big baby, and so he's basically crying, in my opinion, because he realizes that Eren would never go for that. His whole thing was like, hey, we don't want to be treated by, like, livestock. Like, what do we do to, like, livestock? What do we do to our pets? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we sterilize our pets, but that's no good for, like, humans, right? Like, obviously, and so I feel like that Armin is realizing that Eren will not do the eugenics, and so that is, pointing towards him having, like, pushed Mikasa and Armin away, like, artificially. He doesn't actually hate them. There's a deeper meaning, like Jean said, for all of this going on. And Yelena just buys this? Why does she just buy this? This is such bullshit. And they didn't seem to get the memo, because they're like, what the fuck is going on with Armin? But you still still don't see Mikasa's expression, because Mikasa's expression would give it all away. And so Armin, he's just pretending. He doesn't actually understand, right? Like I'm sure he understands, but he doesn't agree, right? And so I feel like that's going to be something really, really interesting when we get back with the crew, right? Is that they don't actually believe in it, but they know that Eren wouldn't agree with it either, and that's why Armin starts to cry. Now, my second theory was he was crying to make tears, to make steam for when he turns into the Colossal, but that's more of a secondary thing. But yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about this scene. It's going to be interesting to see what this third plan of Eren's actually is, if I'm right about that, because I don't think that he's going with Zeke's plan. It's so obvious to me that I think he's playing some sort of long game, right? But I wonder how Zeke's, like, trip to the afterlife or whatever's going to happen, his trip in the womb is going to, like, work into that. Like, is that gonna change Zeke fundamentally somehow? Like, where are we going next with that sort of thing, right? Like, that's the only thing that's kind of unclear at the moment. I think that my theory is still correct, that basically what Eren is going to do is collect all the Titan powers and then lock himself away, and then that'll be how he saves everyone. Because yes, like, would people still be like kinda like racist? Like, obviously people would still be racist to the Eldians, but without the Titan powers being like a concern or an issue, maybe there could be some sort of bridge formed over time, over many, many years sort of thing, maybe, right? And so I think that Eren would go more of that route of like getting all the Titan powers and then eventually like locking himself away in like crystal or like encasing, and then that would be the big thing. That's how he quote unquote saves the world. He's like the one sacrificial lamb, and then nobody has to stop reproducing and making babies, because like the only way other kids would get Titan powers is if he dies, and he wouldn't die, he would just stay in stasis for forever, right? And so that's sort of my guess, is that's what I would say. Then we have, you know, oh, there are invaders, very bad. There are invaders going on, right? The enemy's here, someone was killed, it's the cart Titan, and so you see everyone's dressing up, then you see how these people are locked up too, right? So this is the guy I meant. Does he have an armband? I think maybe he does. I think he has the black one, right? They all have black armbands. And so I think that this was the guy I saw earlier that I was like, oh, isn't that guy, right? That's getting like an armband right now. And so I think that it was. What's all the ruckus about? And so that's another thing, is that I don't think that they're together with Mikasa and co. I think they're around the same area, but not probably in the same place, right? So that's sort of interesting too. And then, wait, so why does Falco have one? I mean, I guess, like, but Falco, I guess he did drink the wine, but didn't have a clue. I guess it's kind of weird that they, like, put him here, though, because, like, he, you know, he's just a kid. He didn't drink the wine on purpose. I don't know. You guys know what I mean? Wait, do Mikasa and Armin have armbands? No, they don't, right? So it was only for the people that drink the wine. And so I guess it's to show who's complying, but I'm like, he's just a kid, bro. And he wasn't complying with you in the first place because he's a prisoner. Like, he's a warrior cadet, right? But anyway, I don't know. I thought that was an interesting thing, right? And then we see all of the Jaegerists behind Pieck and Gabby, and I really like how you can see the similarities in their hairstyles, especially in this scene, right? Is it safe to say you and I are allies now? And Eren's like, no, right? Eren's like, what the fuck do you mean? We literally just met, sis. Like, what? Until then, you'll be cuffed to the Marley kid. He still doesn't even know her fucking name, and I think that's so funny. It reminds me a lot of, like, that Avengers Endgame meme, like, you took everything from me, I don't even know who you are, right? It's very much like that vibe. Don't worry, this kid will come around soon enough, right? And so I'm just like, But I feel like that this could also be foreshadowing to the fact that she could come around, because I feel like Falco could have defected, and so I feel like that Gabby will eventually defect too, right? And so then you have, you know, some red armbands, some white armbands, that Biddy thing is a Marley soldier, she's an ally, right? And so then she does something cute, and they all love her. Look at this, right? Look at this. These guys are blushing, and then you see Porco, right? And so these are the only guys that don't seem to be like, they don't give a shit. They're like, whatever, right? And so I wonder why? I don't know. Like, they all seem to like her for some reason. I wonder if it's because, like, these are, like, the Jaegerists, though. Like, they have the white armband, so maybe they were supposed to be unimpressed, right? Like, because of that, whereas all of these guys that are impressed have the red armband. I don't know. I'm just saying. That was, you know, that's something to notice, right? Hey, where's Falco. Falco's here too, but it seems he drank some of Zeke's spinal fluid, right? So this is something that Pieck was not expecting, so this genuinely surprises her, right? Because then she knows that's basically a death sentence for Falco, but Falco's definitely getting Reiner's powers, so don't worry about it, in my opinion, right? Who knows? They're saying the wine with the spinal fluid got in his mouth, and so Gabby's realizing that that's when the thing went down with Niccolo, right? And so she's saying, it's my fault again. And so I feel like that this is major character development for Gabby, for her to realize that all her actions have led to causing harm, especially to Falco, who only just wanted her to not do the bad things, right? Who just wanted to protect her, who didn't want her to become a Titan shifter. I actually wonder if Gabby, though, could inherit Pieck's powers, and then Falco could actually not inherit Reiner's, but actually Jaw, even though with all the foreshadowing that they had between Reiner and Falco. And I just say that because, like, it seems like that Jaw and the Cart Titan are almost like a tag team type thing, you know what I mean? Like, they seem to work together more, whereas Reiner used to work with, like, Bertold and Annie and stuff. Speaking of Annie, I think that that's probably gonna be a thing soon. Annie's gonna hear the action upstairs and realize that, you know, someone must be back to get her, and so she'll just, like, melt the crystal. She'll just go like, or maybe Jaw will break her out, because Jaw's now around. He can do that. Just a suggestion. I don't know. Anyway, you took over the military with Zeke's spinal fluid, so yeah. They did that. That's what they did. They basically are using it to threaten everyone. Do you even know why Zeke has an ability like that? Beats me. Do you know? No. Thanks, Pieck. What? Other than Zeke, no one else does. And so I feel like that she did this to, like, sow seeds of doubt in Eren's psyche, that there could be things that Zeke is not telling him entirely. But little does Pieck know that there are things that Eren is not telling Zeke entirely either, right? And so I felt that this is interesting. Ever since I met him, I feel like Zeke was telling lie after lie. True. Very true. 4 years ago, I confirmed that hunch, right? And so obviously it was with this scene. Only with you did his words seem true. Believe me, I know what you're going through, Eren. Someday I'm coming back to rescue you. If anyone, I thought he'd tell you about his special power, but I wonder if Eren is kind of lying, because I think that maybe his special power comes from the fact he has royal blood. And so what she's referring to there is like, I know what you went through, Eren, because, you know, you had my dad and I know how my dad was, sort of thing. And so I think that maybe Eren does kind of know. Like, I'm sure that that's why the spinal fluid is a thing. It's because he has royal blood, right? Like, that's the thing, isn't it? For example, like, it can draw out the Founding Titan's power or something, right? And so, like, she is, I think, manipulating him, right? Because he already knows about this, right? And so wasn't that the whole thing? Like, Tom was like, hey, like, we can, like, draw out the Founding Titan's power, but the Founding Titan will ultimately have the final say, so it needs to be someone you trust. That's the whole thing that Tom was saying, right? And so I feel like Eren already knows that. I really like this scene, though, because I think that Pieck was trying to, like, manipulate him or sow doubt that, like, Zeke was actually on his side and stuff, like, draw out the Founding Titan's power, right? But I think that Eren kind of already knows these things, and so, like, he's just like, you don't even know. I'm about to use it against him. Something like that, right? I love this line. This gave some much needed comedy to this episode. I thought that this was really, really great. Just a callback to that. Eren, it's not safe to trust that woman. Yeah, I don't trust her either. It's mutual, right? I don't trust her. She doesn't trust me. And so I thought that that was pretty funny as a line as well. By the way, aren't you using the Founding Titan powers? Where's Zeke? Oh, if you knew. If you knew where Zeke was, Pieck, you'll find out soon enough, right? And so I feel like she's sussing out for information at this point. Now, she knows that Zeke isn't actually around, or else he'd be around here, right? I think that that's basically what she's doing. She's trying to figure out, okay, I'm gonna turn after Porco turns, or I guess, like, after she frees herself from Gabby type of thing, but, like, who's around here? Is Zeke around here to fight Reiner? Is so-and-so around here to do this? Is so-and-so around here to do that? Like, I feel like that that's sort of what she's thinking. Show me, where is the enemy? And so I feel like that this was such a good scene, because I like the little hand squeeze. Like, she's reassuring Gabby that she's not a traitor after all, and Gabby seems to realize it, right? And so I love this face. Protect Pieck. Pieck is best waifu, as the kids say, right? And so I love this. And so she points, and, like, you would think that she's pointing at Eren, but it's also sort of a double metaphor, because she's also pointing at the ground, and, like, Porco is under them, right? I wonder who died inside, like, as Porco was transforming, because there was a bunch of the soldiers with the red armbands there. I wonder if any of them died when Porco transformed, especially because the building's crumbling down. So yeah, she points at Eren, so obviously the implicit implicit, like, metaphor is like, oh, she's pointing at Eren because Eren is the enemy, right? Like, Eren is still the enemy, either way. But it's also her pointing at the floor at the same time, and he is not amused. And I love the eyes that they share with each other, because he's like, yeah, like, he kind of knew. I think he always knew that she was full of shit, but then the floor breaks away, and I feel like that's what he didn't expect, because now he's, like, big mad about it, right? And so Pieck covers up Gabby, and then Jaw tries to go for it, and he does get some of Eren's limbs, but I think that the plan was basically, hey, Jaw will pop up and swallow Eren and everything will be Gucci, right? In theory, that was the best case scenario. Worst case scenario and more realistic scenario is he misses, and he did. And so they're like, ah, fuck, did we just lose him, right? And so now there's just a little bit of blood, some limbs cut off, it's fine, don't worry, right? And so then he turns, and then we see the smoke, and the smoke was obviously the signal, as we know. So again, now that the building is rumbling, I wonder if Armin will be like, fuck it, even if I destroy the city, there's not really much of a choice, because we're gonna get crushed to death. But anyways, it's begun. So see, Armin even knows, right? The Titans have started to boot, like, they all know, I think, right? And then we see a cut at Falco as well. And so I really liked this scene, because then you just see, like, Jaw is protecting Gabby and Pieck. And then, like, Gillard, it's so cute, right? I knew it wouldn't be easy. Pieck, you're not a traitor. Gabby, you thought I'd sell out my comrades? So she was like, you thought I was being serious, bro? And I really like that line. But you said we have no future fighting for Marley. And so I think that Gabby did genuinely kind of believe that, right? And then you see the tears well up in Gabby's eyes, though, because it's not about Marley. It's not like Marley came to save them. It's her friends that came to save them, right? And so I really like that. And then we see the commander, we see Reiner, we see Colt, right? And so they're all coming together. It's all coming together, right? Pieck and Gillard have exposed his location. It's the founding titan. And then we see Reiner. Go get revenge for Libero. And so again, sir, did you not cause this? Because you knew what was gonna happen, sir, right? And so I feel like that the commander has some, like, third motivation. Like, I feel like he's so suspicious. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like he's so sus. I wonder what Colt's gonna do, though, because Colt doesn't have a titan. So, like, what are you gonna do, bro? You got nothing. I don't know, right? But obviously, Reiner is gonna come out. Let's put an end to this guy. No, they're not gonna put an end to Eren. I don't think so. Bring it on, Reiner. So he still knows that Reiner's, like, in there, which is so funny. And then we also see, like, I think that his eyes have changed just because now he has the Warhammer Titan. And so that's the real fun thing about this fucking cliffhanger, is that we need to wait 9 months to see Eren use the Warhammer Titan in tandem, right? So here are my predictions. Reiner will die, and Falco will have to get, like, the powers, basically, or else Falco would, like, stay as a Titan, obviously. So basically what I'm saying is that Zeke will return after his little spirit world journey, right? He'll come back, he'll scream, everyone will turn into a Titan, and then Reiner basically, like, sacrifices himself on purpose so Falco can turn back, and then Falco will have Reiner's powers. In terms of Gabby, I feel like Gabby could get Pieck's powers at this point. Like, I feel like there could be something going on there, but that may be, like, late game, like, not really right now. You would also have to consider if Reiner and Pieck and Jaw, so I guess Porco, if they can't kill Eren, why the fuck would Falco be able to kill Eren, right? He has much less experience, right? And so I feel like that's gonna be like a later game thing. Levi's probably fucked up. I don't think he's dead. I think he probably just has scarring. I think that Zeke's in the womb, like we said. I think that we're basically gearing up for a very intense battle, a very fun battle, very funky fresh battle, but we won't know until next year. And I think I basically talked everything to death. So basically I have Armin knowing that Eren has a big brain plan, Eren manipulating Zeke going into the spirit world, Zeke maybe having a change of heart, question mark, some Reiner stuff, some epic stuff, some fighting stuff. I wonder if Annie will pop up, and I wonder if Annie will actually be that wild card that she actually fights against Reiner, because she's like, yeah, fuck Marley after all, right? Because I'm like, I get it, like, I get why Pieck won't turn right now, but what if Annie has been hearing all the things Armin's been telling her and is like, hey, this is the perfect time to go against Marley, right? And I thought that even Reiner would do that too. Like, I thought that Reiner would go against Marley too, and I'm kind of sad. Like, maybe he will, but not right now. But yeah, that is it, guys. I think that's it for us. We don't have an end credit scene or like a post-credit. We don't have a preview because there is no preview because there's no next week. And so yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed my discussion. I feel like we banged it out very succinct. I tried my best, and so I hope that you guys enjoyed our little talk. Remember that you guys should, again, subscribe for more Attack on Titan stuff, all of those types of things. I'm going to be doing My Hero Academia next. I also have some other anime. I'm probably going to be doing 3 anime, so My Hero, instead of Ruby, another anime, and then another anime instead of Promise Neverland, which I dropped. So I dropped Promise Neverland Season 2, and we're gonna replace it with something, and so even though Attack on Titan is over, we will have some new anime. So I hope that you guys enjoyed our little talk, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!